My respectful pranams to each one of you who have joined us this beautiful morning for the yoga session. At the outset, let me wish in advance to all of you a very healthy, happy International Day of Yoga. The theme this year is Yoga for One Earth, One Health, which is really profound, connecting between the individual well being and the planetary health. I call myself a holistic nutritionist because I blend the Eastern and Western ways and philosophies of food. I blend the major principles of nature cure and yoga philosophy into the modern medical nutrition to make it holistic in nature. So, when we come to yoga or speak of yoga, we always think it is all about bending the body, but yoga philosophy is all about bending the mind. If you look at Patanjali Yoga Sutras, out of 196 sutras, only 3 are dedicated to the asanas. All the other are talking about the mind. Why? Because our ancestors understood how powerful the mind is and why it is essential to discipline the mind. And so it is all about minding the mind. Now, I want to bring in a little insights into the yoga philosophy. Yoga philosophy says we are made up of 5 layers of existence. The first layer is called the Annamaya Kosha because it is made up of Anna and Anna sustains it. Anna is food. So, this is the first layer. And the second layer is Pranamaya Kosha, which means that we have a pranic system inside our body where the prana flows in channels called nadis, just like our circulatory system where the blood flows in the channels called the arteries and veins. And the next layer, the kosha, is the manomaya kosha, which is the mind. And the next one is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellect. And the innermost is the Anandamaya Kosha, which is pure, complete bliss. Now, yoga philosophy says we need to give the right kind of food or the inputs to each of these layers if we expect well being or complete health. So, in the next few minutes, I will briefly touch upon each of these layers and what will make it healthy. For the want of time, I'll be very brief and quick. For the Annamaya Kosha, the physical and the physiological aspect of this body, what is absolutely essential is the right kind of healthy food, and yoga philosophy calls it the sattvic food. And majorly, what does sattvic food mean? It is all about increasing the fresh produce. That is the vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and the fruits. The more and more we eat this, the more and more we can walk towards health, stay lean and fit. The other aspect for this physiological and physical system is the asana practice. Why asana? I will take a couple of minutes describing this because this is what is the purpose of today's practice. Asana, any physical activity for that matter, is absolutely essential on a daily basis to just move this physical and physiological system. What is movement? At every level. It could be muscular, movements of the joints, movement of the blood, oxygen, prana, the food inside the system, the lymphatic system, and the excretory system. When everything moves is where health can exist. And asana practice could be one of the best to bring in this movement inside this body. And another aspect is what happens in our nervous system. We today are constantly under stress for many, many reasons, and we activate the sympathetic activity of our brains. And to nullify this sympathetic activity, which increases the stress hormones and damages the body, we have to nullify it with the activity of the parasympathetic nervous system, which releases the rest and digest hormones. And yoga asana practice will activate this parasympathetic nervous system and nullify the negative effects of this stresses we go through life. And that is why yoga asana practice becomes the most important when you compare it to all kinds of physical activity. Coming to the next layer of existence, the pranamaya kosha, to keep it in balance is very important, for which we have to modulate our breathing, and pranayama practices help us balance here. And the next kosha is the manomaya kosha. Keeping the mind calm and in peace is the most important thing, to have clarity of the mind so that we can make the right choices and decisions in our life. And for that, mindful practices, then meditation and relaxation techniques will all help us keep this mind calm. And mind is very powerful, as I was trying to say in the beginning, and it influences all our decisions. So keeping it calm is the most important. And coming to the intellectual sheath or the aspect, intellect has to guide the mind. Otherwise, mind will take its way because it's powerful, and it always likes quick, easy, pleasurable ways. So it will do everything to overpower us and use these pleasurable ways. And where does the mind get its food from? Thoughts. Thoughts feed the mind. And where does the thoughts get the feeds? From the sense organs. So to be very mindful of what we put into our system through the senses is very important. Because the intellectual aspect guides us from within, having the right inputs, say, of the knowledge, what we seek knowledge through, and the community we live in makes a lot of difference for this intellectual guidance. And finally, the Anandamaya Kosha, which is complete unlimited bliss. This is the crux of all Indian philosophies, to reach this place and know who I am and what is the purpose of life. So this journey within to touch that Anandamaya Kosha and always be in bliss is all about the roots of Indian philosophies. All of this is taken care when we practice yoga philosophy. So the asana, pranayama, meditation, all of this leads us towards this inner Anandamaya Kosha. With this introduction, let me end my talk and allow my colleague and friend Ruchika to take you into all of these practices in the next 45 minutes. Enjoy your day. And it is not just about practicing one day in the year on the International Yoga Day. It is very important to adopt it into our lives so that our lives becomes beautiful, calm, and healthy. And I would like to end by thanking DRDO to have given us this opportunity. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Over to Ruchika.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful insight we have given. Of course, it was indeed it was much needed, because before we start doing it practically, we should know what it is and why we are doing it. It was a wonderful insight, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.